Good morning, good evening, good night. As I always say, wherever you're watching your podcast from, wherever you're listening from, we know we have different time zones across the world. And we know that there are persons listening to us from as far as Australia, South Africa. So we know the time difference there. I'm reaching out to you from Canyouth Exploration, your topic in the podcast from the Bronx now, but we usually reach out to you from Marymore in Florida. This is Canyouth Exploration, your topic in the podcast, and I am Dr. Canyouth White. Today we'll be talking about a very important topic, and we have a very important person, someone who is an expert on the topic, to talk to us about the topic. And we will be talking about this emotional hunger thing and how to overcome it, right? The stress that it actually generates. And Tricia Nelson, she's an expert as it relates to this. And those of us who get stressed at time will maybe eat a lot, see the food, and we just eat because it helps us to relax. We believe that is. Tricia will tell us more about that. But I suspect that is the whole concept of emotional eating. And Tricia experienced that, and she overcame basically, and would like to tell us more about it and what we can do if we feel stressed and decide to just eat, and put on this weight and become 200 pounds, especially this time. This is December the 23rd, 2021. This time of the year, we might want to eat a lot, especially if we're having challenges, the stress of the holidays. Let's let Tricia in and hear what she has to say about this. Tricia, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. You heard me, right? But
I did.
before you answer all of that, I always put my client on the spot about a question that I will ask you. But let me ask you first. Who is Tricia Nelson?
Well, I grew up in the Northeast of the U.S. and I live in California now, Southern California. And I'm somebody who was obsessed with food and weight from a very young age and felt a lot of shame about it because I started gaining weight and I hated being fat, but I was a fat girl. And by age 20, I was 50 pounds overweight, and I had a roll on my tummy that I would scrunch up in my hands and imagine cutting it off like you cut fat off the side of a steak. And I thought about getting some strange disease where I'd automatically lose weight, or I thought, well, maybe I'll join the army and I'll be forced to exercise at boot camp because I hated to exercise. So some pretty crazy thoughts because, I was out of control with my eating, and I was a binge eater, which means I got like lots of food at one time and I ate it, ice cream and chips and fries and, different crunchy, snacky things. And so, but the weight gain was a problem for me, and also just the obsession with food. So fast forward, I was able to find somebody to help me, who helped me by not putting me on another diet, because I'd been on so many diets. Oh my gosh, I tried so many. I was a yo-yoer. So I'd be like up 30, down 20, up 10. And I had like five different sizes of pants in my closet because I never knew what size I'd be. So I'd done the diet thing, but yeah, I learned how to address and heal emotional eating. And that's what changed for me is really getting to the bottom of the emotional eating, why I was compelled to eat, even though I knew better.
Right. And Tricia, we're going to be coming to more of that because that is the meat of the matter, as we would say in this episode. But this is a trick question now that, I ask all of my guests. Your childhood. Tell me about your growing up. Who was little Tricia?
Sure. Well, I was oh my gosh, I was a good kid. I was a happy kid, but I experienced sexual abuse when I was 5, which is very typical for people who have weight issues. And so that happy-go-lucky personality got a little bit darker, with the abuse. And so I still was pretty happy kid, but I definitely had some darkness to me, and that's what fueled my eating. So I guess to answer your question, I was, a child of God. I mean, I was a beautiful, warm, big-hearted person, but I had troubles. I had troubles in my life, and I didn't know how to cope with them. So that made me feel bad about myself. So I struggled with my self-esteem and with intimacy with other people. And so I grew up with some problems, until I got help.
Yeah. Oh, that's great to know. I mean, great to know that you got help to overcome it, but not good to know that you had those challenges in your life. And all of us have some sort of challenges that we grew up with coming through life. So you're not alone in that, Tricia. Um, Let me ask you though, this thing about emotional eating. Since you talked about that experience that you have, and you believe that that is what caused you to be eating a lot. What is emotional eating? Tell us first. What is that?
Yeah, so I was, I ate enough, nutritionally, but I kept eating because I had an emotional need for the food. So I was emotionally hungry, and I used food to anesthetize uncomfortable feelings. So that's really emotional eating is basically numbing emotions with food. And that's why we tend to emotionally eat on carbs and sugar and heavy high calorie foods, because those are the ones that kill the feelings. They make us feel numb.
Oh, so with our understanding now of emotional eating, the concept, what about your emotional eating habit? Tell us about that in more detail.
Sure. I mean, as I said it, I was a binge eater. I was 50 pounds overweight at age 20. I felt shame about my weight. I went on diets. I did a lot of diets. And exercise program. When you're overweight, you're like, I'll diet and exercise. That's what's going to help me. But it didn't help me because the emotional eating wasn't fixed. I mean,
Yeah.
I learned how to follow a diet, but I couldn't always do what I knew I was supposed to do. Like, I was supposed to eat the salad, but I wanted the French fries.
You know, right?
So that was a problem for me. And so yeah, and so I was frustrated. I lost weight, I lost and gained a lot, and I got to a place where I just felt very defeated. Like, I didn't know how it was going to end for me. I thought, I can't do this for the rest of my life. I had, like, as I said, 5 different sizes of pants in my closet. I was always going up or going down the scale, but never staying in one healthy place. So it was frustrating for me. And it wasn't until I met somebody who had been obese and had lost the weight, by going into the emotions, healing the emotions, getting on a more of a connected path with their emotions, and really through spirituality as well. And that changed everything for me.
Yeah. But tell me, dieting as we know it, some of us may hear about dieting and decide that, okay, we should not eat for half of the day, or something. Is dieting a matter of starving ourselves sometimes? Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, well, honestly, the statistics are really dismal when it comes to dieting. 98% of all diets fail. I mean, that's abysmal. And 98% of all diets fail, which means you can lose the weight for some time, but you won't keep it off. And yet, if you search Amazon right now for diet books, you'll get over 60,000 results.
Yeah.
Okay, so dieting's what we do. It's what we think of. We think it's going to fix the problem, but anybody who's an emotional eater, they can't stick to a diet. I mean, yeah, you can do it to begin with. Anybody who starts a diet, it's like, I'm doing it. Like, ooh, I'm going to look good, feel good. Like, and people are complimenting, and you feel fantastic for a little while. But then people stop complimenting you, and it's just sort of humdrum. And then you start to feel uncomfortable, because all the reasons why you ate and put the weight on in the first place start to bubble to the surface, and you're not pushing it down with all the excess food. So you start to feel bad. and then you start to crave, and then you feel out of control, and then you say screw it, and you just binge.
Yeah. Tricia, we're going to be talking about that 7 simple steps to end the emotional eating soon. But that tummy thing, because when we say, okay, we are getting fat, there are some parts of the body that will show the weight. And the tummy, the belly, is one of those, the abdomen is one of those places.
Yeah.
It's hard to release that fat. It's hard to get that fat up. Tell us about it. What's happening there. It's a difficult thing to do.
Well, especially for men, I mean, I had belly fat, obviously. Women have belly fat, but for men, you do, as you get older, you get kind of a pot belly, and it is hard to lose weight, and that's where it's dangerous too. Metabolic syndrome is really dangerous, where we put fat on in the middle. But to me, it's not easy to have it, but it's all, people don't make the connection between their emotions and their eating. They think they're just hungry, or they just like chocolate, or do they just crave pizza, but they don't realize, they're like, oh, I don't eat over my emotions. I just like food. That's what I told myself too. So the emotional eating idea doesn't ring true for a lot of people, but once you hear about it, you can't unhear it. So if you start observing your eating patterns, you might start to see that you're eating even when you're not hungry. You're eating out of a habit, right? And that's how we gain weight, is we eat when we don't need the food. We eat out of boredom. We eat when we're stressed. We eat when we're, heartbroken. Food is our comfort. It's like our main source of taking away bad feelings.
But you cannot deny this, Tricia. I doubt anyone can. That this whole taste bud thing, right? It brings us that sort of pleasure.
Hey, I like to eat. I love food. What are you talking about? I love food. It's not about, dieting isn't about deprivation. Okay. Right. I mean, it is, but that's why we can't do it. So getting healthy isn't about deprivation, is what I meant to say. Getting healthy is about starting to look at why we're eating and not doing it for emotional reasons. So I still enjoy my food. I make great meals. They're tasty. They're yummy. I make great foods. I had to cut out sugar because sugar is addictive. But I still like sweet things. So I'll make things that don't have sugar. I'll use a sugar substitute like stevia, or monk fruit, natural sweeteners. So you can still enjoy your food, but without the addictive substance of sugar. And sugar causes belly fat as well. So there's ways around it. There's more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak. But we have to start, looking at the emotional connection with food and start waking up to the fact that we have stress, and we often stress eat, and we can live our lives differently so that we don't have as much stress. And that's vital.
We're going into the 7 steps after this. But guess what happened? With the advent of the Uber system, not advertising for them, and Uber Eat, and this thing about the advertisement on the TV with this burger and things that we don't want to eat, we should be eating. And when we see that, all we have to do is get on that app and say, hey, bring me some burger.
Yeah, fast food nation.
Yeah. So how can we deal with getting healthy, keeping the weight off with this sort of fast food nation?
Well, it's not that, I mean, we've always had at least for the last 50 years, we've had fast food. So fast food is not the problem.
Right.
Okay. Uber Eats is not the problem. There's always going to be temptation. The question is, how are we living so that we don't give in to temptation?
Yeah.
Okay. And that takes addressing our stress. That takes, getting more rest. That takes starting to have a practice in the morning where we can get still and quiet and centered. Stress is a big part of it.
Yeah.
We're all doing too much, and we can't keep doing as much without expecting to eat as much. We're eating because we're not slowing down. We're not catching our breath. We've got too much on our plate, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that causes emotional eating. Like when we're stressed out, we're on the run. We're eating fast foods. We're eating too quickly. We're skipping meals and then we pay for it later with a late night binge. It's like we have to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not going to just happen.
We have to change, and we have to put out an effort to change. We have to be committed to that change.
Yeah, but it's not committed. Here's the thing. People who have dieted chronically are like, I can't do another diet because they're tired of being discouraged. Diets don't work. So if you've failed at dieting, don't diet anymore. I don't diet, and I don't teach dieting. I teach how to deal with our emotions, how to deal with our stress, how to start saying no and not doing as much. We're human beings, not human doings.
I like that. I like that. And I will remember that because I'm a sort of a go-getter sort of person. So I will remember.
Yeah. I'm guilty of it too. But, and especially, as emotional eaters, we tend to seek validation from outside of us.
Yeah.
And so we're people pleasers. We want everybody to love us. We want people to tell us how wonderful we are. Well, that comes at a price because we can't keep trying to be all things to all people without paying for it on our waistline.
Definitely. Hey, the 7 steps, those simple steps that will help us to get rid of emotional eating. Tell us about it.
Yeah. Well, super important, first of all, to get centered. And so I teach getting a morning routine, a morning centeredness routine, where you do meditation, yoga, reading spiritual literature, journaling, whatever helps you feel like get calm and quiet.
Right.
I call it putting money in your spiritual bank account.
I love that.
Okay, that you can take withdrawals on later. But if you just start your day on Instagram, and TV, you're not putting money in your spiritual bank account. You're going to be on, you're going to have a deficit later on when you're trying to take withdrawals. There's no money.
I want you to remember, we have a lot of social media people around, and you cannot say that to them. They will get up, they will pray, but social media is a must. When Instagram went down a couple months ago, how stressed those persons are.
But Instagram's okay, but you have to start with you gotta go within first.
Right.
Instagram's not going to solve your problems. It's not going to feed your soul.
Right.
We got to think about how we can feed our soul, because it's not food we're really hungry for.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We're hungry for connection. We're hungry for, spiritual connection. So we have to make some investments along those lines.
Yeah. Fair enough.
We have to get still and quiet and connected. Slow down, calm down, start connecting to ourselves so we can go within when we're stressed instead of without.
What's the second step? That was one.
I would say clean eating is one of the steps. Clean eating is all about, the only thing I don't teach nutrition because I find that people aren't stupid and they know that, salads are probably a better choice than pizza.
Right.
So the only thing around food that I recommend, which makes a huge difference, is 3-meal magic, which is eating 3 meals with nothing in between. Okay. And this is mostly so that you can start feeling your feelings in between the meals. If we're snacking all day, we're numbed out. We're numb. We don't know what our feelings are. And so you can't deal with them if you can't feel them. And so the 3-meal magic plan, first of all, ensures that you're not skipping meals, because if you skip meals, it's going to backfire on you.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't skip meals. 3 meals, healthy breakfast, healthy lunch, healthy dinner, close down the kitchen, no snacking.
That 3-meal concept, though, that's number 2. Remember where you're at. That 3-meal concept. You have to train your body for that. Your body has to be trained for that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But you can even, if somebody's in intermittent fasting, you can still put 12 hours between your dinner and your breakfast.
Okay.
But make sure you feed yourself. We wouldn't feed our kids 2 meals and say, you got to lose some weight, so just starve for 16 hours. You wouldn't do that. You feed your kid 3 meals because it's going to be balanced and it's going to be good for them and they're going to have a steady flow of energy.
Right.
So that's how we should treat ourselves as adults. 3 meals, no snacking. The snacky foods are the ones that are carbs and sugar, caffeine and those things, Starbucks. I mean, those are the things in between meals that those calories add up.
Yeah. You're listening to Canyouth Exploration, your topic in the podcast. I'm Dr. Canyouth White, sitting in with Tricia Nelson. She's talking to us about, at this time, 7 simple steps to get rid of emotional eating. Go ahead.
Yeah. So some other things that are really important, connection and community. It's hard to change your eating on your own. If you have a habit of emotional eating, and there's a quiz on my website, by the way, if people are like, I'm not an emotional eater, take my quiz. I have a quiz on my website. My website is healyourhunger.com. Take the free quiz and find out. You'll get a personalized score when you take that quiz. And you'll find out where you are on the spectrum, because I think we're all emotional eaters to some degree. I think we're hardwired to have a connection with food.
I will take it.
Yeah. So take the quiz, you'll get a personalized score, and then And if you're on the higher end of the quiz, you might even be a food addict. Okay. So that's where I was. I would do big binges, big, amounts of calories. It could go on for weeks. I could gain 20 pounds in just a couple weeks.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, it was really bad. So everybody's somewhere on that spectrum, but take the quiz, find out where you're on the spectrum. But if you're the higher you are on the spectrum, the more likely you're going to need support to stop.
Okay.
Some people can just do it right about face and stop, but that wasn't my experience. I needed community, and I do my programs all in groups so that we can support each other and give each other love and support and encouragement, because again, we're not really hungry for food. We are hungry for connection.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking, I have people all around the globe who work with me because I do everything on Zoom. Zoom and an online portal and Facebook, and it enables us to connect with one another. But when you're looking through the screen, thank God we're in our digital age now. We can see each other, feel each other's hearts, and support each other. And that is soul filling. That fills us up. That's what we're really hungry for, is that connection.
Yeah.
Connection, community is vital. So important. And there are deeper causes. So I go into that through my program as well.
Right. And we're going to be having your links on the description, so that persons listening on their favorite podcast platform and viewing can just go on it and click and get to your program and try to contact you through those links. But you're at the fourth one now, right? But let me ask you this: you talk about community and connection, or connection and community, vice versa. So basically, you're saying there are times when we are in the social settings where there's no food, but we're talking. That hunger is released. It's just like with that feeling that
Yes. Yeah, because I think we're all starving for love and connection.
Yeah.
And we feed ourselves with food because we don't know how to satisfy ourselves at a deeper level. And the food is right there. It's quick, it's easy, it's satisfying momentarily. But we need to look within and say, what am I really hungry for?
Yeah.
What's lacking in my life? Where is there love lacking? Where is there connection? There are hormones released in our body called oxytocin.
Right.
When we connect, when we just pick up the phone and talk to a friend, it's like it's healing us. That's why my programs are in groups, because when we are on Zoom looking at each other, oh my God, we're just like feeding our soul. God didn't mean for us to be islands. We need each other.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Interesting. So you're the fourth one now, right, Tricia? You're counting with me?
Yeah, sure. So
Right,
another one is communication.
right.
Because emotional eaters tend to eat their words.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
instead of saying how we really feel, we
yeah,
stuff it. Okay, we don't express ourselves, we don't say how we really feel,
yeah,
and so that's a problem. And so we're eating our words. And part of that is we're afraid to speak up because we're afraid we won't be liked.
yeah,
We're afraid someone will be mad at us. And when we're so outward focused on people's approval, it makes us stay quiet or at least not be authentic.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Eat
so
it
we
up.
have to learn how to communicate our feelings. And I literally teach my clients how to speak up because we've never done it. So there's a method to it. Say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean.
But again, even if we don't say it mean, we might offend the individual that we are saying it to. So we therefore eat it, so to speak, eat our words, eat our feelings, because I might say it, um, well, not assertively, but it will offend the person because the person will hear that that is my feeling.
It is. We're afraid of that. But the thing is, if we say how we feel and we own it and we don't blame other people for our feelings, then however they react is their problem. We don't have to take that on. As emotional eaters, we tend to be a little codependent. So we tend to take on other people's feelings. And then that's why we try to control their feelings by not speaking up ourselves. But that's not good. It's not healthy.
But Trisha, in Jamaica we say six and one half dozen of the other. Six is one, half dozen, same six.
Right.
But I'm thinking that if I eat my words, well, not eating my words, just say it as I feel, and say it nicely. If I lose a friend, I'm gonna be emotionally eaten because I lose a friend, and I
But
am,
why would you lose a friend if you were just saying your feelings?
because I would want to think, Trisha, that sometimes you would tell an individual your feelings, but it
But
still offend them.
but if you say that, if you own your feelings and say how you really feel,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be anything about the other person. They're my feelings.
Okay.
They
Okay.
don't it's if you don't blame, if you're not mean, if you're not finger pointing, you're just saying this is how I feel. And you're
Okay.
with somebody who is a friend. I mean, wouldn't you want to know how your friend feels?
Of course. Of course. Of
Of course. So it's just breaking the ice and having honest communication.
Right. I like that. I like that. I like that. Not eating your feelings, but saying it. Hold your feelings. Saying it to whosoever it is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's so healthy for relationships.
So you're the fourth one. But all of this is saying that, hey, if we do this, we not want to take up the fast food. We not want to even think much about eating out of terms, so to speak, going back to your
No.
belief.
It's a whole yeah, it makes all the difference. It's a whole new way of living. So much more peaceful, so much healthier.
Yeah, cool. All right, the fifth one, that is.
Consciousness. When you
Hmm,
start to wake up to your feelings, you grow in consciousness. And this is important. We have to wake up. People are like, I just like food. I don't have emotions. Well, you don't have them because you're eating through them.
yeah,
So we
yeah,
have to get hip to what's really going on inside. We have to take that journey into our consciousness and how we're really feeling. That's why the journaling, writing about our feelings, expressive writing is so important. And so yeah, that makes a huge difference. So we have to grow in our consciousness. We have to grow in spiritual consciousness.
yeah,
Emotional eaters tend to be worriers. We worry and fret about things. And
yeah,
so we have to start making a spiritual connection where we know that there's a higher order in our world, like that there's a higher power that's got
yeah,
us. It's not all up to us. We don't have
yeah.
to make
I
things
agree.
happen,
Yeah.
right? We can have some faith that God's in charge.
I smiled just now, Trisha, because I was going to say to you that the food industry will be upset with you, right? As you as you say this, because people will be eating less if they actually
Yeah, it's
conform to
true.
the seven-step thing.
But
But
we'd have a whole lot less sickness, a whole lot less
yeah,
death, a whole
food,
lot less
yeah,
cancer.
it's important that too. So the sixth one.
Let's call it the sixth one. I would say is causes. So I go deeper in my work with causes, and there are underlying causes. Causes like resentment, causes like disconnection, spiritual disconnection, causes like untrue beliefs, old wounds, compromises that we're making. So I have several different causes. The source of the problem. I go deeper on that. And the seventh is courage. It takes courage to look at yourself. It takes courage to take that deeper emotional journey. It takes courage to say, maybe it's not just about food.
Let me push this in a bit. Courage to look at yourself.
Yeah.
Look at yourself, meaning if we become fatter, so to speak, put on some more weight, or look at yourself in terms of your lifestyle.
Yeah. It takes courage to make changes.
Right.
It takes courage to start a meditation practice. Nobody wants to sit down and shut up. Yeah, but we have to do it. Nobody wants to start, talking about their feelings. Like, that's not comfortable. It takes courage to do something that's uncomfortable and unfamiliar.
Wow. Yeah, I know. Right. And it's gonna take a lot of courage to work with this 7 simple steps, but it's doable, because Tricia Nelson said to us on Canyouth Exploration that it's doable. These 7 steps are doable. And Tricia, I just want you, without explaining them, you have done that. Just name them. Name those 7 steps that we need to use to get rid of emotional eating.
Yeah. So you want all the steps?
Yeah, just list them. Yeah.
Okay. So from the top.
Yeah.
The 7 steps are connection and community.
Yeah.
Centeredness, clean eating. They all start with C, by the way.
Okay.
Communication, consciousness, causes, and courage.
Right. And those are the 7 steps that Tricia is saying to us will help us to get rid of emotional eating. You can go back and listen to this, at any time, and it will remind you. This episode will remind you. Share, subscribe, share with your friends, right? And comment, leave a comment, and rate as well. But Tricia, your book.
Yeah.
Eat Your Hunger. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so the book is called Heal Your Hunger, 7 Simple Steps to End Emotional Eating Now. You can get it on Amazon. It's also on Audible. You can listen to it. I personally narrate it. It's about a 5-hour read.
Cool. I love that. I will get it. And your podcast. Talk to us about your podcast.
That's called the Heal Your Hunger Show. So the Heal Your Hunger Show, it's on everywhere there's podcasts. You can search the Heal Your Hunger Show. And I get very personal in my show. I talk about my personal experience of overcoming emotional eating, I know what it was like to be 50 pounds overweight. I know the pain of that. And I talk about all the living issues, what it takes to live differently so you don't have to hurt yourself with food anymore. You don't have to stuff your emotions with food. So, and I have guests on as well. It's fun. It's a fun show.
Right. So it's on YouTube, right?
It's on YouTube, and it's on my website, actually, healyourhunger.com.
Okay, fine. So my audience can find your website link on the description. It will be there, so that they can click on it, and then when they click on it, then they can find it and get to it. Tricia, I'd like to get your contacts. The contacts. Tell us. We know your website, it will be the link and so on, but there are the contact that you'd like to just tell us about those.
Yeah, you can reach out to me through Instagram. It's Tricia Nelson __ at the end of Tricia Nelson. I also have a Facebook group called The Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating. And my website's a really good place to start, because you can take that free quiz on the website, find out if you're an emotional eater or a food addict.
I saw that quiz, but I did. I didn't take it.
Take the
But I
quiz.
will take it. I definitely will take it and let you
Yeah.
know about
Yeah,
it.
my website is healyourhunger.com.
Right. It will be in the description, and that people can find you. Hey, Tricia, I'm happy that I've talked to you. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure that my audience, listeners, uh, I've learned a lot, and we will, touch base with you and find out about what's going on with your program, right? And but before I go, is there anything you want to tell me about your program, briefly?
Well, yeah, actually, in the coming up, I'm doing something called the Quit Sugar Challenge, which is a great place for people to start. So if you want to quit sugar, get it out of your body and feel better and have tasty options that are sugar free, you can start there. And then we take the journey into emotional eating, and you can go to quitsugarchallenge.com to sign up for that. Super, super inexpensive and really fun. It's a 5-day quit sugar challenge.
Okay, sugar and salt walk together. What happened? You leave salt to ruin us?
Say that again.
You leave salt to ruin us? Sugar and the salt work
Oh
together.
no, salt's good. I like salt.
I love that. Okay, so we will engage in your program. Those of us who want to will do that. It's really nice talking to you, as I've said. And Tricia, continue to follow you and follow your stuff. All right, you take care now, Tricia. Goodbye.
Thanks so much. Blessings to you.
Thank you. Bye bye. That was Tricia Nelson. You heard her. You know that many people. Let me not say most of us, right? But we tend to eat emotionally when we don't need to eat. It's a matter of hunger, perhaps not. It's just like, hey, I'm getting emotional. I'm stressed, so let's eat. So Tricia gave us 7 steps to deal with that, and it means that you can find her or the information on our podcast and see how best you can deal with this sort of emotional eating habit that you have, or you may have, a friend may have. Share this episode with a friend who you think need to understand how to control eating. She talked about the fact that sometimes it's not about we being hungry, but we have some other needs that we want to fulfill, especially that one about communication and togetherness, friendship. And she was saying that if you are in a social setting, you are more likely not to be hungry, and therefore we really need have some other needs and not necessarily the need for food. So visit her website. It's there in the description of this episode, and see what you can do to lose that weight, right? And let us get healthier and look better. Thanks for listening. Canyouth Exploration, your topic in a podcast. I'm Dr. Canyouth White. Goodbye.